and ask everyone to, we'll go around the table up here first and have everybody introduce themselves as our form of roll call. Vicki, do you want to start?
Sure. Vicki Soriano. I am president of the Board of Trustees of the Indian Prairie Public Library.
Marion Wait, go that way. You're going the wrong way, Johnson. I'm Marion Krupika, trustee and treasurer, Indian Prairie Public Library.
Tom Papis, chairman of the board, Darien Chamber of Commerce.
Kathy Abate, trustee for the Downers Grove Township.
Ray Jablonski, president of the Board of Commissioners, Darien Park District.
Claire Bongiovanni, president and CEO of the Darien Chamber of Commerce.
Kathleen Weaver, mayor of the city of Darien.
Bob Rizzuto, School Board Darien 61.
Speaking to the microphone.
Deborah Karras from the Darien Historical Society. And I'm Debbie Coleman from the Darien Historical Society.
Pass. Okay.
Dean Rodkin, Darien Historical Society.
Alice Brennan, Darien Historical Society.
Warren Anderson, Darien Historical Society.
John Podorowski, same as above.
Yeah, we've been having fun and games with our sound system, we've discovered. And, you know, at one moment we have repairmen and it seems to be working fine. And then we have a city council meeting and it's not working fine. So we learned that we have to get a little bit closer to the microphone in order to have everybody heard. So that is why I asked for the microphone to be rotated around over there. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of December 3rd, our meeting December 3rd, 2013. Do I have a motion to approve? Claire Bongiovanni.
I'll second.
Seconded by Ray Jablonski. Are any additions or deletions that anyone discovered in the minutes? Then I just ask for a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good, thank you. The next item is reviewing of our ongoing initiatives, and I think at this point we usually take time for each one of us to go around the dais and tell what's going on in our taxing districts for for everyone's information, or viewing audience's information. So, Vicki, do you want to start again?
Sure. I'll start again. We are again planning for our 25th anniversary event, which will be coming up in April. We'll have a event at the library. We are we just, for those of you who are unaware, we just started offering Hoopla and Roku through the library.
What's that?
Streaming music, movies. We have devices that patrons can check out.
And we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of the library. And so actually we're doing the events all year long.
Right.
So if you see 25 all over the place,
That's the reason.
A
That's
year-long event.
long celebration.
I got an email and it said there was a banner on it that said 25. Yes. Tom, will like Claire? Okay. Kathy, any announcements?
Actually, the township is having its annual Government Week open house March 8th. It's on a Saturday morning from I'm not sure the exact time. I think it's 9 or 10 to noon. And come one, come all. It's at 4340 Prince Street in Downers Grove at our offices. And it's an opportunity to see what the township does for the residents of Darien, which Darien is part of the Downers Grove Township. You can ask questions to the assessor's office. You can meet and greet the staff in the highway department and also the supervisor's office. We serve food. It's free. We give giveaways. I think we have the sheriff police there usually too, giving little whistles away and things like that. And if you have questions about what the township does, it's your opportunity to come and ask and have a little drink and food with us. So we welcome you all.
Great. Ray?
Park District has an indoor flea market coming up towards the end of the month. I believe it's on Saturday the 20th, but I'm not positive because I didn't look at my notes that I took at the last meeting. So.
22nd.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Flea market, February 22nd. Where do you hold that?
That's at the community center,
Okay.
formerly known as Fairview School.
So it's not outside, obviously.
No.
Okay. Okay, Claire, do you want to go over yours?
Okay. The Darien Chamber of Commerce is very excited to announce we've just launched a new website. So you can go to www.darienchamber.com and check it out. And we are preparing for our 14th annual Darien Dash, which will be held on Sunday, May 18th at Darien Community Park. And we now have sponsorship opportunities available for this event.
Very good. Bob, I'll turn it over to you.
I was looking for the actual start date, but District 61 has a program that's just, well, it was supposed to start on the 27th, I think, of January, but we had one of our snow events, so the buildings were closed. But on Tuesday nights, I believe it's Tuesday nights, the building, Lay School will be open. I think all the schools will be open, but the computer labs will be open for the community to use. If people don't have access to internet or computers, they can come on in and spend some time. It won't be an instructional type thing. It'll just be use the facility if you need to or want to, and that'll be available. If you need more information, give a call to the district or check on the website, darien61.org. And our graduation ceremonies this year is going to take place at Hinsdale South. Traditionally, for many years, we've been at Ashton Place. And to cut some costs and save some money, we're going to do it at Hinsdale South. I believe graduation is June 5th, and that's, I think, still in place, even though we will have snow days at the end of the year. But I believe it's June 5th, and it'll be at Hinsdale South. So
I think it's a great way to utilize another facility, partnering with another facility. I think it's a great idea. Bob, any announcements for the Darien Woodridge Fire Protection District?
Not involving the public, no.
No? Okay. Thank you all. Why don't we start? We already did. So let's move on to the reviewing of the ongoing initiatives. I think what I'd like to bring up is what Marion Kropika, I can't say it all of a sudden, has a great an idea that she really wants to get out there and discuss and see if we can't build it up, and that's the recycling issue. Do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Sure. We had a recycling event a month or two ago, and it was very well received. We had shredding and collecting things, and we did partner with the Lions Club and who else did we partner with? Not too many people, but anyway,
with the Lions.
And it was so successful that we did actually find that the parking lot where we were holding it was probably a little small for the event. So our assistant director, Laura Birmingham, who actually ran the event for the library, suggested maybe that we bring it up here, maybe include Willowbrook because they're actually part of the library also, and maybe make it into a bigger event, find a better place for it, a better parking lot for it, and see if other organizations would like to join us and partner with us. Last time I think we held it in October.
We held it in October. We did partner with other people who were recipients of donations.
Oh,
and
yes.
Helped in the recycling.
They were there as volunteers.
As volunteers to take other pieces other than just a shredding event.
So
Right.
it is a fundraiser, isn't it, Marion?
Actually, it isn't. We actually ended up, there was some costs for shredding, not exorbitant, but, maybe we could even find some supporters, and maybe open it up even, to more communities and things. And we'd have to find a better or a different venue for it as far as our parking lot, because that proved to be a little smaller than we needed.
Time consuming for it to go
Round and around. So this is something I thought, might be something we've talked about, partnering and having an event, and it seems well received in the community. Like I said, really the only cost is for the shredding, and maybe we could find some sponsors for that. And then, getting the volunteers. And we didn't have any trouble getting volunteers.
What is the cost in the shredding?
The vehicle.
Oh.
Actually having it on site.
So it's like renting it.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
In other communities, we've noticed that they also do some publicities, often a bank or maybe some chamber, and they get some publicity for sponsoring a portion of this recycling event. But it seems like it was quite needed, and it was something maybe we just thought we'd bring up to this group and see if there was any interest, and anybody have any ideas about where we could hold it.
I got a question. Is it strictly is it recycling like electronics, or is it paper, or all of the above?
Everything.
Okay, because the Downers Grove Township has recycling monthly. It's always the third Saturday, and at 318 Quincy on Cass Avenue, you can bring all your recycling products and dispose of them there, and it's quick, it's fast, it's easy. But we don't do shredding.
And shredding
So-
probably was our biggest draw,
Okay.
and was the most time consuming.
So do you do it yourself? Do you bring because I have boxes of stuff I would love to shred, but I don't
People
want to
were
do it
dropping
myself.
off.
I didn't
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Obviously,
shred
we're
mine at
dropping off
home.
boxes of shredding.
I'm sorry?
People were bringing their cars and dropping off boxes of shredding.
And
But they also dropped off electronics and eyeglasses, and
The usual.
there were clothing donations. There was also charity on site that would take those. And there
Goodwill,
was some-
Goodwill was there, because they took some furniture that we had. I went through the line 4 times.
Oh, did
Oh,
you?
you could probably speak to this better.
I could speak for
And
better
it
traffic
did take a while to
flow.
get through the line
Yes.
because of the size of the parking
Right.
lot.
Okay.
Because you entered off of Plainfield Road and then, at least I did, and then came back around through
Can you
out
think?
Clarendon
Yeah.
Hills
Can
Road.
you think of another parking lot that you think would be a better layout for?
Hinsdale South, possibly?
Hinsdale South had a recycling event too that it seemed like it was very successful. I know I dropped off a lot of stuff, and it was eyeglasses, and it was all different. They had different stations for everything. Gosh, I wish it was more of a fundraiser too.
Well, I think for the organization, some of it is fundraising. But, I mean, the event as far as shredding is not.
Okay, but
You know, West Suburban Bank does shredding once or twice. So maybe if you could coordinate it with them and talk to Chuck's about using the back parking lot, the bank could cover the shredding cost.
was it West Suburban Bank? It was the other bank.
Citizen, both
it
of
was-
them, both,
oh,
yeah,
both
both
of them do
them,
it.
yeah,
Both of them do it. Okay.
Because I know at Citizens, there was a limit of 2. You could only have 2 boxes, and they had the same problem because they were going around the back of the bank, and they were concerned that the backup was going to be on Cass Avenue.
Okay, so you think the best layout in everybody's mind is Hinsdale South's parking lot?
Well, or what about the one at Fairview and 75th Street, the Park District?
Oh, I don't think it's a good layout in that one.
I mean, you can go in,
Not the Park District
you can go in.
community, I mean the one on the corner.
Westwood.
Oh, the park on the corner. Oh,
Which one? The overflow parking.
for your fields there, Ray.
By Westwood Park?
By Westwood?
Yeah, I don't think that's big enough, is it?
No, I mean, if there's no soccer going on, it might work. But if DYC or travel teams are playing there that day,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I know it's not in Darien, but what about where Kmart closed up on 83 in Plainfield?
That's huge.
I
mean,
would,
Pete's Market's supposed to go in there, but I don't know when they're going in.
yeah, I don't think they have definite groundbreaking plans yet.
Yeah.
I'd rather keep it in
What about
Darien.
Chestnut Court, like by the home run inside?
No, the AmVets is gone, Goodwill's, they're both gone from there.
Yeah, Chuck's in the back or Hinsdale South's parking lot, I think, are the 2 best choices. What is the best time of the year to do it? Is there a best time?
I don't know if there's a best time. I mean, we did it in October, and it was welcome, I think. It was.
Yeah.
People are done with their vacations.
Spring
Before
is
winter,
Yeah,
fall cleaning.
I've
versus
met-
spring cleaning.
Yeah, I've met with the mayors of Woodridge and Downers Grove, and they really would be interested in doing something jointly with us.
Well, I know Darien used to have an amnesty day. That was discontinued a couple years ago.
Well, you can put out anything now. I mean, it's Amnesty Day, every garbage day, frankly,
Yeah.
because you can put out anything. You just have to put a tag on it. But
But you can't put electronics out.
that's yeah, just that can't go in the dump.
No.
Yeah. So, okay, so we've got a wide open time of the year. Let me talk to Mayor Tully and Mayor Cunningham and see what kind of dates they're envisioning, and if they have a location where we could all jointly do it, that would be great.
That would be great.
Right, I mean, right after tax season, people have got stuff that they, old tax returns that they're ready to shred. So shortly after the 15th of April might not be bad either.
Well, I don't do my taxes till October, so that wouldn't be. Okay, this is something that I will bounce off of the two mayors and see if they have a location they think would be a great joint location. And, because I know Downers Grove does a big one,
Do you know when?
but I don't remember. It was a rainy day. I remember driving there. And they have it at their facilities right off of, is it right off of Walnut?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, right off
By
of.
sharing connection.
Yeah. Okay, let's table this for, and come up with a location, and would all of you, well, I think we have enough volunteers right here, with all the organizations that would chip in and help with that.
It seems that even with, it's great to hear that other groups are doing it, but it's certainly, the response that we got was kind of surprising. So there must still be a need right here without having to drive. I think it's just, people are more apt to just go a few blocks, drop stuff off.
That's true. That's true. So you did,
4 times.
including 4 times, yeah. You did it. You had your recycling event in October, you said,
I
right?
believe it was October.
Does anybody recall when the high school had, who ran the one at the high school in their parking lot? I can't remember when I went by there. What time of the year? Okay. Okay, then maybe we're just going to keep it to ourselves then. Just keep it, your thoughts are, let's keep it to ourselves?
Yeah, I can, we can touch base with Laura too to see, kind of where she is right now with the planning stage, and if they have a date set, I'll check with her.
Yeah, I think the Hinsdale South parking lot would be the best choice of all that I can think of. The getting in and getting out seems to be a good layout there.
How did the shredding part work? People come with a box full of papers, and then do they do it themselves, or do they hand it to a volunteer to shred the paper? They hand it to a volunteer?
Did you bring any shredding?
No.
Oh,
I
was just curious.
Mostly furniture and.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I brought
Clothes, and
shredding. I
somebody
brought
was
shredding. I
collecting
just dropped it
neckties.
off.
You just dropped it off?
Yep.
Because some people might feel that, it's my private information. I want to see it go through the shred.
sure.
Right away.
Yeah. So I mean, I just a thought. I just
Right.
wondering if you just accepted it. I don't know if I feel comfortable. I mean, I trust everybody here, but would the public feel comfortable just giving the box of?
They obviously did because that's what they did.
They did. Okay.
Well, the Boy
And
Scouts
that's
were
what you do
there.
at the bank also.
Yeah, the Boy Scouts were there, and I told them, I said, "Now this is a
Shredded that
lot of
day,
sensitive stuff. Would you keep an eye on it for me?" Yes,
okay.
Mrs. Weaver. Mrs. Weaver.
Mrs.
yeah.
Mrs. Weaver.
That was fun. Okay. Is there any other ideas anybody has floating around that they want to discuss here? I know we have not set a date for the next town hall meeting, and we threw around some ideas at, I think it was the previous meeting in the fall, about ideas of how to hold it. But I think personally, I think we need to set a date for sure of doing this. Did everybody like we had September?
Last year was September.
Yeah. Did everybody like that September date? Was that something everybody could work with? Okay, what day, do you remember?
Last year was September 26th, I believe.
That sounds right.
So that was probably a Thursday then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That would be the 25th this
25th.
coming year. Should we set a tentative date of shooting for that? And then we've got we'll plan a few meetings here where we decide how we're going to do it instead of doing it the way we did it this last time. We want to get more people walking around, meeting all of the taxing bodies, talking to the taxing bodies, and less of a presentation, I think, is what I was hearing from everybody's comments. So let's set that date as the future town hall meeting, and then our next meeting, let's talk in earnest about how we want to lay it out.
Do we want to stay with the same venue? I think we kind of outgrew that room.
Brian said we could have the larger room, didn't he?
I could ask him.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go ahead and?
Ask him.
Okay.
Ask him if he'll do it. Otherwise, where would we go? Oh, we've got Chuck's, we've got Alpine. Okay. Okay, let's start with Carriage Greens and see how that goes first. Okay. Moving right along here, I was just writing names. Bob Klein is here now. Jeanette Campo walked in, so we have some new individuals here. I had hoped that we'd have the Historical Society's business plan a little bit sooner, so we could all have digested it. This is something that we talked about in earnest with the Historical Society here last meeting, and we sent them off with the task of creating this business plan, so we knew exactly what were their needs, what is their budget, what are they looking for? They're looking for direction, obviously, from us as to where to go from here, but I suspect we're probably going to have another meeting after everyone takes a look at this business plan and really digests it. Anyone have any additional thoughts since we had our last meeting regarding the Park District? I know
We have it on our committee agenda on the February 24th.
I was talking to Stephanie. I had called her right after we had the meeting because I said, can you hold off? I thought you had your meetings earlier in the month. And I said, could you hold off your meeting until we had this business plan in place? I see a couple scenarios here. One of them is, I think there's only 3 parties in our initiatives groups that could even consider absorbing the Park District, the Historical Society into their taxing bodies, and I think it's either the city, the Park District, and 61 to a lesser position. But that's who I see as the main players in this whole scenario. The other options is for all of the parties, all of us taxing bodies here, to find a way to set aside funds in all of our budgets to assist the Historical Society. And I don't know if that is something that all of us would even consider, if that would be something we could do.
I could speak for the township. It's probably not a possibility because the township covers about 9 municipalities, and we don't do it for any of the others. So it wouldn't be a possibility to say that we could earmark it for Darien's Historical Society. All of the municipalities within the township have ways and means of their own dealing with their historical societies, either private or with their city, rather.
Yeah.
So the township, because it covers so many towns, probably wouldn't be a fit for that, for money.
Okay. What does the library think about that idea? I know you can't speak for your whole board, but
right.
just
I can't speak for the whole board, but I do believe that the consensus basically is that we service 3 different communities, all of Willowbrook, most of Darien, and some of Burr Ridge. So again, not being able to do this for all 3 communities, to earmark any part of the budget for something specifically just in Darien would be, a difficult sell for the rest of our patrons in those other communities.
Yeah.
Right, and I think legally, I don't know if you can actually
Do
transfer your funds from one taxing body to another. But that doesn't mean that we wouldn't give assistance as far as, any reference help or archiving things or, things like that. I think that, right now we have a person on staff who's been quite involved with
Assisting.
So,
offering.
I think that would be publicizing, having events at the library certainly would be a possibility too.
Meeting
Okay.
rooms. We could certainly do something like that.
Okay. So the multi-jurisdictions here is an issue for both of you. They're a 501c3, right? Yeah, they're a nonprofit. So we'd have to investigate whether that's even feasible that we could get.
May,
any
I-
kind of-
may
yes.
I interrupt for just
yeah,
a
I'm
moment?
sorry. Yeah, Alice, go ahead.
I just wanted to give you an idea of what's been going on since we last met.
Okay. I'm sorry, Alice.
Thank
I
you.
should have turned it over to you immediately.
It's fine, no problem. We're very glad to be back to discuss the issues and to bring you the information that you sought from us in the form of a business model or business plan. And we have that, excuse me, in front of you in that packet. We too would say that we're sorry that we couldn't produce it sooner, but this was something very new to us, and we needed some guidance. And during the time frame since the last meeting in December, a couple of us went over and made contact with people from SCORE. I'm not sure if you might be acquainted with that organization. They're retired executives and people who have been in the business world, et cetera, just looking for some guidance on how to actually formulate a business plan. And I think it was very helpful, and part of what we learned is within this packet itself now. In addition, the city was kind enough to offer the services of Scott Corn, how to present the financial part. And so we give him thanks in addition to the people that helped us out from SCORE. When it came to the capital needs listing that we presented to you in December, each one of those capital needs was assigned to 2 of our 11 directors. So they were responsible with the time frame of this meeting and getting the estimates, and I have to tell you, it was just a lot of fun. What I'm trying to say is some of the times the weather intervened and people didn't show and all this, and I'm sure most of you have been up and down this ladder, but we've done the best we can. In most cases, we do have responses for you. And I think that we've had some good news. We've had some not so good news, and we've had wonderful news in one case in particular. But I'll set that aside to say that we are very interested in hearing your opinions. We can certainly understand your positions of your organizations financially and what goes into your budgets and what your flexibility is. So, in cooperation with what the mayor said tonight, I think, speaking on behalf of the board, your 3 choices seem to be the most logical, and so we would direct along those lines, not opening or closing anything, just discussing again. During that time frame, one of the things that had been suggested at the last meeting was contacting Chicago Cares, and that was done very soon after the meeting. And Debbie Coleman is here with us tonight, and she happened to be the one that was in touch with Chicago Cares. So we'll ask Debbie to do a little review on that.
What I've found out is that they don't usually deal with suburban locations. They have a pool of volunteers. People come to them and volunteer their services. They don't do anything professional like HVAC or plumbing or electrical. About the only thing they could help us with would be painting. And they told me that what they would do is they would take our project and consider it, and then if they had the volunteers, then they would staff the volunteer project through their organization, but they couldn't give us a time frame on when that would happen.
And the only thing they could help you with is painting?
Mm-hmm. There is no professional people to help.
Okay. Okay. That's a disappointment.
Well, they would, normally what they do is they line up a project with some volunteers, and the volunteers can just be, like, for example, Target may do it, and it's just, people building cabinets or things. Or they actually can go out and get some skilled labor. And I'll have to talk to my son about the answers that you got back, because I mean, I know they've done some stuff out in the suburb, and they're going to be talking with the West Suburban Community Pantry on 1 or 2 projects. So if they can go out to Woodridge, they can come out to Darien. So I'll see if I can get some clarification for you on that.
In addition, Dan Gombeck from the city, you're all familiar with Dan, came over and looked at the building, gave it his expert eyeballing, and then he gave us his estimates of what he thought each of these capital needs projects would cost. Now, he didn't have anything in depth, but at the same time, he gave us round numbers, and that was helpful when we were comparing what the estimates were that we did get from other people who were professional in their particular area. Dean, was there anything that you wanted to add to this, Dean Rodkin?
No, Dan also helped us prioritize. So the list that you see is based upon what he thought we ought to address first, okay? And so that's why we put on that capital needs page, that's the order in which everything is.
Okay, in that
it's
order.
in that order.
Okay.
And that was per his suggestion of what we do.
Okay.
And then the other thing I just wanted to point out, too, relative to painting, the issue with painting for us is that the paint in the building has lead in it. And you have got to have EPA certified people address that. You can't address it with volunteers. You have to have people who are certified to deal with lead. That's why the costs on there are so high.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a lead testing kit at Home Depot, and the paint definitely has lead in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so both bids that were given to us are based upon dealing with the fact that we have to address that issue.
Okay.
We also have to have clarification on what we have to do with that issue, because the last individual who submitted a bid said he's not certain as to what we have to do relative to following the EPA guidelines. And he suggested also we check with the township to see what they have with regard to rules and regulations that govern treating lead in a building. So
Did you? I think you need to check with Dan. Did you check with Dan too? Also,
no, we haven't gotten back to
with
him
our staff,
about that
yeah,
yet.
That would be a closer resource, but the Downers Grove Township could also be a resource.
But the one gentleman who gave us the one bid on that, the first bid, the $22,000 bid, he said that if the lead is not addressed properly or is ignored, the fine for that is $37,000 a day.
A day.
A day. I mean, that's what he said.
Okay.
So that's why that price is so high, is because the paint has lead in it and we have to deal with it.
It has to be removed.
There's a whole process that they have to go through.
Okay. Alrighty. And opening up those walls, well, actually taking off the paint is not actually opening up the walls, so that's a good thing.
You're right.
Other items on the capital needs list were handled by various directors. I'd like to have Warren, our treasurer, give you a report on what he found when he was dealing with the furnace, along with Debbie Coleman. Debbie and Warren were both on that particular item, which is number 2, I believe, on your listing.
I had a condo temp come over. In fact, I was over at their shop over there on Belmont and Downers Grove for my own house. I had some issues with my furnace, and I know that they install, so I asked them, do you guys do commercial? Oh, yeah. Well, I explained what I wanted, and the lady came out to Old Lace, and she was quite charmed by the place. It reminded her a lot of the one-room schoolhouse she got her education at in rural Iowa as she was growing up. And she also mentioned her father-in-law, Richard Jordan, I found out, lived here in Darien for a long time, probably long before it was incorporated. And she said, I'm going to go talk to the owner of Econotemp. I might be able to get a discount for you. Well, when she mailed me the quote, it was installed at no cost.
It's already done?
Well, it's going to be done in the spring when Mother Nature finally lets go of us. And we were very pleasantly surprised that they came up, with that offer. Econotemp is contributing the furnace, and the cost of labor apparently is going to be covered by a private trust. I didn't get into any of the details where the money's coming from, but we will get a new furnace at Old Lace for no cost. And that includes a new chimney liner, too.
This exercise has turned out to be a very good thing, hasn't it? Yes.
Yes. We did get quotes from Airite and who else?
That was it, just that.
Okay. But obviously Airite can't beat no cost.
That's correct. That is good job, guys. Hey, that's That's
the-
knocking one off the list.
It was fantastic. And we should be so lucky again. And we are pursuing. I mean, we talk to people very frankly and tell them what our situation is and can you help us? What can you do? So on and so forth. As you know, basically our funding comes from membership and donations or fundraising events that we have. And you'll have to have more time to look at that back page spreadsheet. That covers it. But we ask you if you have any questions about any of those items. They are listed in your packet. Some were close, some not so much. As you've said, Mayor Weaver, it is an eye-opener. In actuality, we were not able to have the roof examined yet because the gentlemen they were not interested in going up on the roof. You can well understand that.
Yes, I can understand that.
I do have a gentleman who's got experience with chimney tuck pointing. He no longer does it himself. He says he sold off all the scaffolding, so he can no longer do the work. But he wants to still come over and do an estimate. And he says, I got to get the ladder up there to really take a close look at it.
Oh, yeah.
And again, our rugged winter has made it very difficult for him to try and get over here.
That's Jeff. That's the one.
No, this is somebody else. This
Oh.
is another individual. He was a handyman. He's licensed, bonded, and everything else. And he used to do tuck pointing on chimneys for
Okay.
a job.
Very good.
In the packet, as you turn over the first page, you get a brief description of the organization. I think we touched on that before. Following that is the capital needs, and the reporting that we have is current as today. Part of the problem was we couldn't get the estimates in quickly enough in order to have it all prepared for you ahead of time. You think that they really want to do these jobs, but they don't always want to show up. You know, that can happen. So you can peruse these and then go on to the next area, which was more or less suggested to us by Scott Korn. He said that this is one way that the city reports in these three categories: maintenance, replacement, and expansion. And Dean, do you want to discuss some of this?
Basically, this is the way Scott suggested that we organize it. And then this was emailed to him, and he said that it looked good to him.
It's very well organized. It's very clear as to what your revenues and expenditures are.
You know, as Alice explained, this is a whole new ballgame for most of us, you know, so.
I'm pleased to see that, I mean, your year-to-year expenses are not great. That's clearly not a big issue. It's all of the
It's
it's
two
all
things.
it's all
really-
the maintenance.
It's addressing the capital needs that we have right now. And, you know, they don't all have to be addressed at the same time, but they do need to be addressed. But it's also enabling us to move forward and to expand and to grow and to serve the community in the way we would like to serve the community.
You know, I reached out to, I just called today, actually, and I didn't get a return phone call, so I was a little disappointed. An individual by the name of Janet Grimes with the Illinois Historical Society, Historical Preservation Agency. Are you familiar with that group?
Downstate.
Yeah, in Springfield. And I was making the phone call to find out what kind of resources they have that would assist us in any way, but I didn't get an answer. You know, I didn't hear back from them. Have you had any experience dealing with them, or do you know anything about them?
No, we have not in the past. We have not dealt with the state other than applying for grants.
Okay. And the grants that we talk about are not big things.
They're not very healthy.
No,
there
no.
are many that are applying for the same small amount of money.
Okay.
It's a tight area.
Yeah.
I would just like to say, since our last meeting, it was mentioned that we start a Facebook page. We do have a Facebook page now, which started December 21st, and I believe Dean is working on our web page. So we're getting
we will have a web page, and we do have a Facebook page. So like us on
Yeah,
Facebook.
they passed out at the Historical Society dinner last Sunday. They passed out their card with their. Why don't you give us? It's
www.facebook.com. Excuse me. There you go. There.
It's IL.
It is www.facebook.com/DHS, standing for the
Yes.
Historical Society. DHSIL. So,
We have a bit of an
Thank
issue
you.
with the Darien, Connecticut Historical Society.
really. Oh my gosh, you didn't jump to the top of the list, huh?
And you don't have to have a Facebook page to view our Facebook page. So, hop on and view it. I'm pretty proud of it.
Good.
I shared your event tonight, your upcoming event, so I think we all just need to, when we see their event, just share it with everybody.
That's right. You were going to share the date of the dress
February
event.
16th.
What was that?
February 16th.
Okay, February. Oh no.
1 till
Okay.
3.
1 till 3.
Okay.
And it's a wedding dress?
It is Debbie's relative. Debbie is connected to the two families that really established Lace,
Darien.
which became Darien, the
Yeah.
Bushman family and the Anderman family.
Yeah.
And the wedding dress is Melinda Anderman's wedding dress. And she was married on January 11th, 1930.
1930. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we have had it since restored.
We've had it restored, and
Yeah.
so we're very proud of it.
Very
Yeah.
good. That's great.
And not only do we have the wedding dress, but we have, her wedding portrait. And Debbie has also contributed her baby picture, her confirmation picture. They also have the sheet music from the song that was sung at her wedding.
Oh my
it's
gosh.
It's really lovely.
How
Yeah.
cool.
And the wedding announcement also, too, was in the paper, so we have a complete description of what the bridesmaids wore, what the flower girl wore, and what all, it's really cool.
It is cool. It is cool.
And that's what we're talking about in terms of what we'd like to be able to do, is to turn this building into a first-class museum.
Yeah. I'm looking at your the capital needs, and Warren, you were very successful in getting a free furnace for the Historical Society. What's everyone's thoughts on getting more donations from local businesses and do we have any professionals that we know in our own group here of friends and that could possibly jump in and give a great quote, do some of the work? You've been awfully quiet, Mr.
The only thing
Klein,
I
'cause-
can add to that is that it's been very difficult for the last several years. We used to have more of a corporate relationship. It's really fallen off.
Yeah.
Really fallen off. Times have been tough.
That's contributed to it also, but like Joe Kenny's, Alderman Kenny's in the back there, and I think with our last meeting we talked about how do we reach out to younger people to get them involved with the Historical Society, and Facebook is a really good first start. Now we have to work on the what you're doing on working on the website.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got to get the archiving going so that people can view go into your website to go into your archives. So I would put that up higher on the list of capital needs.
Mm-hmm. Transfer to that.
I just did it in alphabetical order.
My one concern is that paint field.
Yeah.
That's a big issue.
Yes, it is.
It's a big cost.
The 22,000 isn't going to hack it. Right? What you described is what
No, that's 22,000 with lead abatement.
that's with lead abatement?
Yes.
That's with lead abatement.
Then they got a good price, Bob, huh?
I don't know. I mean, I don't even paint anything, but I will say this, I'm much more impressed this time than I was last time. Since we had our other meeting, you people have done a lot of work. And you've come armed to the hilt with facts and figures, which I didn't hear last time.
Well, we didn't know what we needed to do, to be
Well,
honest
okay,
with you.
But I'm
yeah,
impressed.
and
I
now
think
we
you
do
did
know.
a nice job, and If for no other reason, just getting the furnace was worth its weight in gold. But it's going to have to be, you're going to have to need some help, and that's going to be your problem.
My problem.
What? Is everything your problem in this city?
Yes, yes, it is my problem. It's always my problem. Well, I throw it to Ray and have him take this business plan to his board to discuss, and I will be discussing this with my board going forward as to where they feel they want, how they want to be a player in this. And I don't know what the District 61 would even do, but do you have a line or a connection to their internet? No, you don't have.
I don't think so.
No.
That might be something to explore.
Well,
I just got a note from one of my smarter directors,
Yes.
and what it says is we really haven't addressed the idea of a steady income whereby we can budget. That's so important because it makes it clear, it's black and white, and you've got it. But ours is so dependent. Like the book, for instance, that brought an income that we have never seen that before, and we won't see it again in the near future at all. But it really helped us a great deal. At the same time, we don't have that option to come out with books and books. You just can't do that. We don't have the material for it. But we are not looking for a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking for a steady stream of money. And it wouldn't have to be all that huge. But at the same time, we can see from the back page here, the spreadsheet, what has happened, what's going to happen, for our predictions on it. And we wouldn't be here unless we knew this to be real. It gets more difficult. And at the same time, when people come, they're enthusiastic. Warren had covered the issue very well at one of our meetings, and I'll let him give you some of that information. It's a little philosophical, but I think a couple of minutes is worth it.
Ultimately, we do not control the building. We don't own Old Lace. That's owned by District 61. There is a legal relationship between the city of Darien and District 61, the lease, that gives the city of Darien the ability to influence its maintenance, supply funds if needed. But to a large degree, the maintenance of the building, these capital needs, has fallen on us, and we can't do it. The building is a symbol of the city. You open up that flag over there, and there is Old Lace right there on the flag. And we realize the building is beyond our control in many ways. What we are trying to do, though, within the building is put together a decent, first-class community asset that highlights the history of Darien, the people who came here, the agricultural environment that used to be here before suburbia and Darien came about. And we do that through our programs, our artifacts, and the like. That's what we are trying to focus on, preserving and making available to the public. As this discussion about what we're doing here is going to go forward, there's going to have to be some decisions made about who is going to maintain that structure over there. It's an 80-year-old plus building. It needs work, as this capital need shows, and we got to have help. Otherwise, it's just going to deteriorate. And when it gets to a certain stage of deterioration, it'll be gone. So that's what we're trying to get out to everybody. We want to be partners in this. All of us are deeply committed to this. We have some people like Dean and the two Debbies who have done a wonderful job of organizing, cataloging, and trying to preserve what we have accumulated to this point, trying to put together programs. But we cannot do it all and maintain that building at the same time. It's impossible. Mm-hmm. And we just want to get out there that we have to have help with the maintenance. The building itself has to be preserved. We can't do it.
Okay. Yeah, Vic, I can't tell if he's scratching his head or has his hand up in the air. I looked around before. Yes, Joe? Some thoughts?
I got one. I got actually a couple. Late school is open on the first Sunday of every month for 2 hours.
Mhm.
That's 24 hours for an entire year.
Yeah.
Is there any way of possibly holding that open more times a month so you can get more people into the place to appreciate the historical aspect of it? And while they're there, I'm not saying to charge a fee. I'm just saying, asking for a goodwill donation.
We do.
The more people
We-
you can get, the more people you can.
We do.
We have donation.
Well, okay, but you're getting donations 24 hours out of the year as opposed to opening it, instead of only opening it 1 to 3, you open it up noon to 4, maybe 2 or 3 times a month to get more people.
We
in there.
have talked about opening at least twice a month, because right now we're an 11-member volunteer board. It's only the 11 members, 2 at an open house, that work. So, we were talking about, we haven't done anything so far, but we are thinking about trying to, but it would mean us volunteering more hours.
You can probably get people to sit your open house as a realtor. I understand how they work.
Right.
You probably have a better chance of having somebody to sit there, asking them to sit 2 hours or 4 hours on a course a month, and asking them for a $100 donation. So that might just.
True, but
You've done a great job of asking people for a furnace. I'm now asking you to ask people to get involved with your group.
Right, and we are working on involving the membership. We've had a lot of discussion on that lately, to involve the membership and maybe have one of the board members and a volunteer from our membership work open house, which means we would be able to be open more often.
I mean, you're putting more fishing lines in the water. More people get there,
Right.
come there to appreciate it, to see it, to value it.
I think we're seeing that now, though. Our open house, I think, has really gone up in numbers, especially since the book. Am I wrong? I mean, I read old minutes, and there were like 8 people came. Now it's like 20, 30.
And unfortunately, you've lost the first one in a year because you had a snow event.
Right. Correct. Yep.
Jean Schultz Angel, she's the lady who emailed me from the Illinois Historical something or regarding the grants.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And we don't meet the requirements for that grant.
Right.
You have to have a full-time staff. We don't have a full-time staff. You have to be open many more times. Oh, sorry. You have to have a full-time staff, which we don't meet that requirement. And their grants are given basically for it sounds like that the majority of their grants are given for like building additions and other types of things. There are other grants out there, and we know that. We just have done research on those grants. We know Home Depot has grants, but
Right now, it's just for the veterans.
right now their grants are limited only to people who are veterans. And so,
Is that grant that you're talking about, is that the one Dan Gombeck reached out? Did
Dan
he follow
Gombeck
up?
suggested
And
that
Mike
I talk
Griffiths-
to Stephen Ziegler, who is the manager, I guess, at Home Depot, about the door.
I'm talking about the grant from one of the other organization you were just talking about.
Oh.
What was the organization Angel was involved with?
Oh.
The grant was due today. The application was due today.
Yeah.
We didn't qualify.
We didn't qualify.
I think Dan Gombeck looked at that and he said, that you didn't qualify, yeah.
It was the executive director of Illinois Association of Museums.
Okay.
Yeah, and we are a member of it, but what that gets for us is a discount when we order archival supplies.
Okay, alrighty. When you say archival supplies, what are you talking about? Are you talking
Well,
about computers and
no.
software and stuff
No,
too?
archival supplies are things like there is such a thing as archival tissue. You have to use archival tissue when you are archival boxes when you are properly storing documents.
Oh my!
Photo sleeves.
Photo sleeves.
Mhm.
Even manila folders have to be archival.
Those kinds. Okay, that's
there
what they
are
supply.
archival pencils and pens that need to be used. It's just, yeah. Just as a point of information, I volunteer at the Chicago History Museum, and the head archivist there spent several hours with me going through their process of archiving things and lent his expertise to telling me what we needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
The museum also gave us 3 filing cabinets, which was very nice of them. So we are we have acquired, Debbie and I have acquired a minimal amount of expertise when it comes to archiving things.
Yeah.
You know, and what we're faced with now is we have stacks of newspaper clippings which are being destroyed because they need to be copied and the originals need to be archivally stored.
Right.
And we can't do that.
A
So
lot of
we're
our
watching them deteriorate.
artifacts are paper.
Yes.
And they require certain ways of preserving them.
Mhm.
The Darien Wall articles, if you look at them, the oldest ones are becoming quite yellowed, and some of them are getting hard to read.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
trying to
seen
preserve
that.
that stuff as best we can, but the specialized materials for archiving are not cheap.
Yeah, John.
My memory doesn't go back to since 1974, but wasn't the city of Darien put in place the museum by asking for us to form this organization? And what I'm trying to say is
Did the city ask you to form a historical
Yeah.
society?
I think El Stromalia
Mayor
was,
Stromalia.
was instrumental in forming the Darien Historical Society when he was mayor.
Kelly.
I think I've seen enough notes that indicate that the reason that the Historical Society exists is because the city of Darien wanted its history kept.
Preserved.
And nobody ever talks about that. I'm done.
We have the minutes of the very first city council meeting. They're very cool to take a look at. Okay.
Now, you have
Yeah.
11 members on the board. What is your membership number?
No.
136.
Yeah.
And their dues paying?
Some are annual, a number are life members. Now, we were thrilled to have the life members, but that is a one-time payment, and it's done. And so we don't have that much that comes in annually from membership. You say membership, and it sounds like whoop, but in actuality, it was a smart move on the part of the individuals to take out a life membership. But at the same time, we need a steady stream of the annual also. That's important.
Why not retire life memberships?
Well, that's a consideration. We'll put that on the
It's
agenda.
like forgiving taxes.
But I think it
And
might
make
be,
it only a different, I forget all the different classifications you have.
Yes.
yeah.
Individual, family, life, whatever, annual or life, or corporate.
Well, are you getting very many life memberships right now at this time?
No, we're not getting many.
Okay. Okay. How do we get? What do you have to do to get people to will money to you, donate money to you? What do you have to do to do things like that?
Well, I think
Yeah.
I think people have to see, I mean, obviously they want to see something continue in the community. I mean, but what I was thinking as you were talking, $39,000 is a lot of money,
Yeah.
and it's really two issues from what I can figure out. You need to get this done, and then you need to get your steady stream. Well, maybe you can't deal with both at exactly the same time, but I think this is a really fabulous, it shows a lot of work and effort to get this prepared. Could there be some kind of maybe community event where you have a goal of like $20,000? Like maybe, I don't know, the 4th of July parade, and you set a goal and you get everybody in the community, you get the women's club and the Lions club, and they carry cans around, and you get that up to a point where the whole community pulls together for this.
It's certainly worth a thought. And I mean,
It definitely
and,
is.
Our issue is appealing to the age group of 20 to 40.
I mean, we have library volunteers, we have teen volunteers who are just really cute, and they really like to march in the parade. Well, maybe they could, and I just don't mean them, I'm just thinking of a group of different groups, where I'd have to be really organized on how you handle the money, but you can work the details out. But, where you would have like like the community really all pulls together. It's something you are already very involved in, which is this ice cream social.
Yeah.
And I I'm not saying it has to be this, but I'm just saying it's a time when everybody's out, there's a lot of people out, and you set a goal, and at least you can get this accomplished. Maybe not the whole thing, but a big chunk of it, because if you don't get, I don't mean to say this, but if this isn't addressed,
It's over.
the building's going to be in really,
Yeah.
I
And
like
the
your
building,
idea, though.
the building is in a very prominent location. And to have, you don't want it to turn into an eyesore.
And this District 61 does not want to inherit an eyesore, that's for
Yeah.
sure, because that would fall on them to take care of that. So we've got to do something.
About that either.
What's that?
I'm not so sure about that either.
What's that?
I haven't read them all, but I know there's legal documents about how it was leased to the city and maintenance was left over to the city back in.
There is a lease, and we didn't bring that up earlier. We do have a lease.
With whom?
With the city. The district has a lease with the city. We gave a copy. I brought a copy over and gave it to Scott.
Okay.
Okay, so he has it. The lease will expire in 2016.
This is great news. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but there is a lease that does exist. Okay, and we probably should have had it at the meeting also for people to take a look at.
How could the city? How could we give you a lease when it wasn't our property?
The city, the school district leases it to the city for $1 a year.
Oh my goodness.
In 10-year increments.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
The last lease expired in 2006, and it said if the lease is not renewed, it will be go in effect for another 10 years. So
Okay.
technically, it's in effect till 2016.
Okay. I'll have to have our staff investigate that because
But Scott has a copy of
That's
it.
a strange relationship,
It's rooted, Mayor, in how Old Lace was the city hall in the initial formation of the city government.
Yeah.
And Old Lace was sitting empty at the time. In fact, the school district was toying with the idea of demolishing it and using it for bus storage. And the city needed a location to establish the seat of government. So a deal was struck, and it was somewhat handshake, as I understand. I haven't seen that initial lease, but there was some.
60 die, I believe.
There was an initial lease. There's been three
Oh,
versions of the lease.
Yeah, so, and then once the city moved into this location, the push came about, well, let's establish a museum there, and
Okay.
that's how we came about.
Okay.
And then the bicentennial celebration, let's restore Old Lace as the symbol of Darien. By then, the flag was already set with the building and everything, and that's how this thing evolved to the current state it is now.
Okay, we're past the bicentennial. What are we up to now?
Trying to keep the place together.
Well, no, I'm thinking of a theme for a fundraiser.
Yeah,
That's
but
what-
Marion's got a great idea, to try and promote something citywide.
Well,
and
my
to
first
set a
thought was
goal.
save Old
Yeah.
Lace School. That's the
Yeah.
theme of the fundraiser.
That could be July 4th, and the people that march in it could bill them $25 or $50.
I keep
don't think
thinking
you'd
save
have
the
that
clock
big a
tower.
kick on it.
Well, that's a Lions Club event, so we'd have to work with
right,
them.
you have to work
probably
with them.
would
work
with us
Obviously, you
on
have
that.
to work with them.
And hey, anything's possible. Anything's possible.
I think you need to clean up the, who owns that thing, though, and get the city to own it.
It sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds
Get it.
like it. 'Cause-
Well, get it out of 61 and let the city deed
The
it over to
city
the
leases
city.
it, yeah.
Make it clean.
That would require discussions between the city and the.
Oh, absolutely.
That's right,
but it's
because
not
the
just
property
a
is the
parcel.
district's. So I mean, it's a handshake agreement with the city to lease it to you. It's what a
You get into land leases and.
what a convoluted
No, just
situation.
clean it up.
So okay,
it has to be cleaned
we
up.
have a few things to do here. So okay,
Could I just
But I
add
think that
something
that's
which
a
has
good idea
absolutely
as far as
nothing
an
to do with
event.
the immediate situation, but I think it's noteworthy that our board consists of there's 11 members on the board, 3 of whom are Darien Citizens of the Year.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Joe, did you have your hand raised again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I had a question for another Darien Citizen of the Year. I learned recently, Bob, that the Rotary Club painted Old Lace School
Yes.
once upon
In 70, 75, I think it
upon
was.
a time, then they painted it red, and they had to go back and repaint it white, or what? I don't know what it was that I'd heard.
But we were told to paint it, and that, because the old little red schoolhouse on the corner.
Right.
So we painted it red, and then it had to be changed to white. And we tuck pointed the chimney and everything else on a new roof and the whole shot.
So I guess my question was.
You know how many cases of beer that was?
That's exactly right. Yep. That's what I'm talking about.
District simplified grants through District 6450 with Rotary. I know you said, you weren't impressed at the first meeting. Now you're more impressed.
By far.
Is there something you can go back to the Darien Rotary Club and see if they can apply for a district simplified grant to help them get some money here?
I think that can be done. I'd be happy to do that. I'd like to get a couple of the superintendents together and with the city and
Well,
have a little.
and this is a perfect opportunity for us to pass this business plan out to the Lions Club, the Rotary Club. Kiwanis, I don't think Kiwanis is real big in Darien, but these organizations might be looking for a project to donate to or to adopt, and I think that's what Joe's talking about. Bob,
We would love to be orphans of their storm.
Yeah.
No offense to the mayor, this is not a big taxing issue. It's a petty cash line to the city. You've got more money than God anyway, we all know that. So, this can be solved. It's not a big issue.
Pennies.
It's huge to us.
All right, so my gosh, I think we should set another date for a couple months to come back and talk again, because there's so many ideas running around here, and we definitely want to, pardon me, Bob?
Politics and stuff.
What?
Politics, it's hard, the deeding of loss of property and gaining of property and all this.
Well, yeah, this could be a real entanglement, I'll tell you.
But it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. It should be easily resolved, yes. But, okay, Save Old Lace School could be our theme.
Mm-hmm.
We had Save the Barn. You were successful in that venture.
Let us meditate, and we'll come up with something.
Okay,
It's
and,
an excellent suggestion that Marion's
can
made.
you reach out to the Lions Club? Bob's going to be the Rotarian that's going to take information. He's going to take this business plan to the Rotary to see if they can't pick up one of your capital projects here.
We can definitely get a business plan to the Lions Club, and we already thank the Rotary because they have helped us at different times throughout several decades.
Yeah.
They've always been very kind to us.
We've gotten grants from the Rotary about every couple of years to get something from them.
Okay, I got to come up with a date. Do you think 2 months would be enough? That would take us into April. That might be good, because then we'll break for the summer and stuff. And we always go with the first Tuesday of the month, and that would be
April 1st.
April
That would be a
1st.
good day.
April Fools. April 1st, is that a problem? For all of us April Fools here? Okay.
Oh, that is, the schools are off spring break.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because spring break is, starts March 31st, and the schools go back April 7th.
Another paid holiday.
Okay.
So probably the 8th would be a better choice.
But I think we run into the problem of school board meetings and things and other, some of your other taxing body meetings.
Well, I think a lot of people are going to be on vacation and not be here in town.
How about the week before?
I'm fine with that. I don't.
What are you talking, now you're talking,
The April 1st. make it the-
25th of March?
March?
now we're
It
talking,
gives you 30 days, or a little bit longer. No, it doesn't.
no.
Yeah, it does.
I was moving it back to May, and, that would be May
Want to do
6th.
something on July 4th, then you're pushing the, if you come up with some plan prior to that.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I'm suggesting the week before April 1st.
That would be March 25th.
Yeah.
But how about all of your board meetings?
I'll have 2 by then.
Do you have one? Yeah. See, that was our problem. That's why we always came up with the first
I mean,
Tuesday.
you can do anything you want. You're mayor.
No, I need you guys to be here, and if you have board meetings, you can't be here.
We're going to be gone.
May 6th? Are we going too far? Do you think you want to, is that too late for you to start getting your ideas together?
I think
for
it would be a little lengthy. If we're trying to put something together for
A
no
fundraiser?
later than the middle of the summer, I think we'd probably like to be kibitzing before then.
Are you sure everybody's on break April 1st? You are?
They all coordinate.
This year?
So
This year they coordinated, huh?
Well, who does that affect?
Who,
Who's affected by that?
who's affected by the April 8th date?
April 1st.
Excuse me. Well, I was offering April 8th as,
On the 8th, yeah. This 61 is a meeting that night. Shoot.
I mean, you can meet.
April 1st you can meet. I probably will
Does
not
everybody-
be
is
in town,
ev-
but we're not integral. I mean,
Okay.
we are, but we're
But your voice is.
where our voices
You
are.
you have
Yeah.
ideas. You have
Yeah,
ideas
your
to
voices.
share. Let's stick with the April 1st date, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay.
See what the turnout, just ask us to reply. If we can make it or not, you'll be able to make a call.
Yes, sir.
Could we find out what do you call it? Yeah, it seems to me that we need to know what's going to happen in that lease that you didn't know existed.
Yeah.
Could somebody just look at that lease and decide what effect it really has?
We will. That is something that we'll do in the interim
Because
before
if
we
you-
meet again.
If you do the lease and look at it, and it might be different than we're interpreting it, because we're not that kind of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, that's what we'll do in the interim. Before the next meeting, we'll investigate that so we have a good idea. We're able to report back what it is.
Can that be done in the next couple of weeks? So that they
Absolutely.
know?
Yeah, absolutely. We can do.
Things could be done before the next meeting. I mean,
Sure.
contacting the Lions Club if that's
There's
a
another-
good
there's-
venue for you
I'm
or
sorry,
whatever it
Mary.
is.
There's another whole group of people that we've never really tapped into in any kind of collective way. And that is a lot of people in the community that went to school at Old Lace. And who are very invested in it.
All
Just,
right.
You know, when they do visit.
Are they all members?
No, no.
Well, go get them, girl.
We've been trying. We've
Nice
been
little
trying.
marketing letter. Hi, your school is in peril.
Yeah.
You know what?
But no, seriously.
I'm gonna let you guys run with this whole idea of a fundraiser, okay?
Sure.
I mean, I think it's a great idea. I think Marion suggesting it was a great idea.
Yeah.
So.
And when Marion talks about, involving kids, one of the ideas that we've always bantered about also, too, is starting a junior historical society. And there's a lot of ideas. There's a lot of things out there that we can do, but we're 11 people.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem. I think what's happening as a result of this meeting and, the previous meeting is that we're in the process of letting the community know something they didn't know and had no knowledge of. That, if you don't hear anything, you think everything's just fine and it's going along lovely. Well, it's not. And so we're in the process of raising awareness and then trying to address the issue.
And I think we're all here to help you try to raise awareness with our ideas. Joe's got his hand raised again. Joe?
5 years ago, I created a page on Facebook, and it was supposed to be just, I never meant it to be anything but just a couple of friends. It's called I Grew Up in Garfield Ridge. You can go, you can't get into it, you gotta be invited in, okay, because we're into some shenanigans. However, today I've got over 2,100 people that are in that page that go there because there's some people put in there, remember the grocery store, remember the things on there, but a lot of people put a lot of old photos of, there's like, you see photos of railroad tracks running through Midway Airport that you never knew existed. So what I'm telling you is go create yourself a Facebook page.
She did.
Say, I read from Old Lace School and promote that and get people to come in there. I'm telling you, it'll take off on you more than you would know it. And then you can also use it as a resource to generate revenue, get volunteers, maybe possibly get somebody to do some handiwork for you. But the lead paint one, like Bob was saying, that's the one you're going to have the biggest issue with.
Yeah,
all that.
yeah, without it.
You could do a program even at the library where, we have a night when you can share your memories. I mean, that'd be something the library could do for you, or with you, I should say. Not for you.
Yeah,
you know.
they have a great meeting room upstairs where you could run any kind of
know,
program that you want.
You know, and I know you've done presentations with the book, and I don't remember exactly how kind of response you got, but you know, even if you have people come back and share share stories or invite
Spare
people.
time.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how we could give you help.
You're right.
But we can help. We have people that can help.
Right.
Yeah.
So it would just require one of you, and then we can give you other Indians.
You have lots of volunteers. Yeah, we happen to look good because we have really great staffs. That's why. Okay, so I'm going to take this business plan to my board, and I know Ray's going to take the business plan to his board for discussion. And we've set a date of April 1st for our next meeting at 7 p.m. And we'll be excited to hear about all the things you have planned going forward. I think that Debbie, were you the one that made up the Facebook page? I think that's a great idea. I grew up in Darien. See what you come up with. So, I thank you all for attending. I really appreciate all of your input, and I'd like to have a motion to.
So move.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Klein, seconded by Mr. Jablonski. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much for all of you coming.
That's a tough exercise.
I'm proud of them. Well, my staff helped a whole lot, but I'm proud of what they did.
You know, I would put your